Can you hear me? Oh, man, what a day. Okay. Let's get into it. Let me get the music fired up here. It's another Friday. This week I did it my way. I made lots of juice, and now I feel a boost. Baby say, oh, it's the way I make my juice. Pressing fruits and roots. This week I did it my way. Baby say, oh, now let's have some fun. There is nothing greater than Fridays at Goodnature. What's up, my juice lovers? Welcome to Goodnature Radio. This is your host, Charlie Wetlaufer, joined by the two top juice business consultant in the entire world, Chef Ari Sexner, author of The Juicing Companion, and Olivia Esquivel, founder and operator of Southern Press Juicery. Goodnature Radio, the Friday podcast where the juicing industry comes to get help with starting and growing a juice business. Goodnature was founded in 1976 by my dad when he invented the commercial cold press juicer. What? Interested in learning more about our complete turnkey consulting packages for starting a juice business? Schedule a free 30-minute call with the Dream Team at goodnature.com/radio. School of Juice, looking to take one of our courses? Use code... Man, I'm off today. Use code GNRadio for $100 off any course at learn.goodnature.com. Join in on the discussion of the Goodnature Juicing Facebook group. Just check out, search for Goodnature Juicing on Facebook, and you'll find us there. Over 5,000 members talking about running a juice business every day on there. And of course, shop in bulk on the Goodnature Marketplace at goodnature.com. And before we get started, I just want to say that the Juicing Level Up launch has begun. There's our new weekly mentorship group where we'll be getting on live video conference calls with everybody that's a subscriber every week to talk about everything going on in your juice business and helping you navigate issues or answer questions or help you start your juice bar or make it more profitable, whatever you need. So we launched a couple days ago. We've already got 5 people signed up. I'm hoping we can get at least 10 by our first episode, which is going to be Tuesday, March, what is that, the 5th? Tuesday, March 5th will be our first episode. We'll be going live. And if you sign up before our first episode, you'll get Ari's Juice Business Masterclass for free, which is normally $999. I mean, that math doesn't even make sense. You sign up for a $299 sign up for a $299 subscription and you get a $1,000 course for free. That doesn't even make sense. But that's crazy. What we're doing. So
doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So sign up today. I can't wait for our first mentorship session next week. That's going to be a blast. It's going to be fun meeting everybody, learning about their juice bars, juice businesses. Okay. So today's episode is all about something that has been growing in popularity in our customers and our clients' juice bars, and that is catering orders. So
yes,
taking orders for businesses and events, group functions, whatever. So it's basically doing large kind of bulk orders of your products for events. So we're going to be talking about pricing and profitability, how to structure those deals, and also how to plan production so that you can keep your costs in line and everything and deal with the purchasing and stuff. So I guess first we can start. Olivia, I know Southern Press Juicery offers catering. Maybe you can just kind of give us an overview of how that works and we can go from there.
Yeah, honestly, it's not something that I talk a lot about to the Southern Press Juicery audience, and I really need to do a better job of that. But we do get a lot of catering orders. Most of the time, it'll be a juice order, shot order, or mini bowls. I don't really love to do smoothies just because I feel like they're really difficult to transport. It's a harder execution. So I'd mentioned earlier this week to Charlie, I was like, man, things are, sales are up and I've been getting a lot of catering orders. And I always feel like my Good Nature day starts. Like I've lived like 9 lives before my day start, before even at Good Nature. I was at Southern Press Juicery this morning at 6 a.m. and I had 3 large catering orders, randomly all landed on the same day. I really only knew about 2 of them. One I thought was next week. So I was already behind the game. Okay. But the one order that was the biggest order today was always prepaid, of course, but it was 100 mini bowls of 2 different flavors, 100 juices, and 100 shots. Okay. So it was significant. So we got the juices done, the day before. And so today I was like, oh, easy peasy. Like, manager and I will go in early, deliver at 8. We'll create the mini bowls. We're all set. Well, we were behind the 8 ball. 7:30 rolled around, 7:45 rolled around. I was not done. So as soon as 8 o'clock came around, the phone rang and I was like, that's the client. I know that's the client. I'm supposed to be there by now. My husband answers the phone and he tells her, yes, she's on the way. Okay. Well, my car was out front. We were loading the car because I thought it was down the street. I thought we had to drive, which was already my mistake. That I was just off today. So half the juice is in the car. He hangs up. The client walks in the door and sees me making bowls.
Oh,
Busted.
Oh, no.
Okay. So bad, guys. So bad. It was not my finest moment. And she's got like in a kitchen apron, acai all over me, like in the throes of it, right? And she's like, I thought you said you were on the way. I mean, totally gave it to me. There's already guests in the store. And I was like, I am on the way. I'm on the way right now. I'm walking out of the door. I'm following you. Go. We're following you. We're following you, right? So we follow her all the way. It took us several trips because I just had a little dinky cart. It was several trips. We're running back and forth. We're passing each other. My husband's like cussing me out as he's passing me. You're so unprepared. He's like always the scheduled one. And I'm always the one flying by the seat of my pants. You're so unprepared. You should have been ready for this. And I'm like, shut up. And I'm running that way, right? And so we get up there. And of course, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, well, she really should have created more of a buffer between the time that she asked for catering to be dropped off to when her guests were going to be ready. Of course, I'm like pointing the finger. I get up there, you guys, there is a line of people waiting for me, a line.
Whoa.
And it's an insurance company. It's this beautiful new building. I mean, they have a terrace. They have 5 floors. There was no reason for these people to be in a line waiting for me. They could have been out chilling, whatever, enjoying each other. They were 100 plus people in a line like kindergartners. So I like wheel my car to the front, and this was annoying to me. They had these igloo coolers on the floor full of ice, and they wanted me to stuff the mini bowls in the igloo cooler when I should have really just put them on the table because they're being consumed right away, right? So I'm like sweating. My whole team has abandoned me because they're all mad at me. So I'm there by myself, just like getting a lashing all by myself. And as soon as I'm like almost done, this guy in line, so he's like the first guy in line, all these people are behind and they're like trying to look around him, trying to see what's happening. And the girl next to him says, "What is that?" And he's talking about the mini bowls. And he goes, "Oh, that's an acai bowl. It's terrible for you. It's full of sugar.
Oh my
It'll
God.
spike your blood pressure, spike your blood sugar, full of crap. Don't even grab that." Right in front of me. I was lit. I turned around to him and I said, "I don't know what acai bowl place you eat at. You must go to the cheap ones, but everything here is made in-house. We make it fresh. There's not an ounce of sugar in here except for a drop of honey on the top." I mean, I was lit, you guys. I was like, first of all, how rude for you to say that in front of somebody. Like, don't eat what this girl is serving. It's total trash. And second of all, it was a lie. Like, if you're really doing a good business, you're putting out a great product, right? So I had to go back and fix the other 2 catering orders. All of that to say, I was behind the 8 ball. I got my ass handed to me today in catering orders. And then I just got a text from a client saying, "Olivia, I've got a large catering order from a hospital, 100 bottles. What do I charge?" So it is catering season, people. You need to know your cost before you give out a price. So with that, I've lived 9 lives today. None of them were great, to be honest. I'm hoping tomorrow's better. And I'll let Chef Ari talk about how the hell to do catering the correct way.
Well, the guy was probably hangry, waiting for
I
that
know.
acai bowl.
I was like, you're just
He's
hungry,
probably all
man.
grumpy. It's like, where are these?
Well, that's the similar thing happens with juice, where people are like,
Totally.
"Oh, why would you juice? It's terrible for you. It's just as bad for you as soda," because there's some headline in some magazine about how drinking juice is just as bad as soda, because they're talking about from concentrate apple juice, which is basically just sugar, and then it just, I don't know. Yeah, but that is frustrating.
That is, yeah.
Okay, well, before we move on from that, so how do you wish you have done these orders differently? Is there a lesson we can learn
well, here's
here?
the thing. Yeah, well, I should have come in earlier. My juices, I was good with my juices. All of that was ready. I really couldn't have done the bowls yesterday because the bowls would have been too frozen. But I should have been in an hour earlier and I would have been fine. It was just, I just misjudged time, and I did my big bases like I would normally do in BOGO. And because I was using a smaller cup, I thought, one extra large base on my Vitamix, the big one, per flavor is going to give me the bowls that I need. And it only gave me like 8 or 9 bowls. So I had to do it several times. And so I just totally misjudged the amount because I was using a different container that I'm not used to. And I just eyeballed it and I was way off. So if I had come in with enough time, I would have been really fine. But prep before that was good. And we had signage, like everything was very professional. Like I will say that by the time I left it, even though I was 30 minutes late, by the time I left it, they had, color signs and acrylic, stand-up signs that had the ingredients of everything. Everything was stickered and labeled, of course. You know me, like brand was everywhere. Spoons, everything was fine. I was just late. That's all.
I was going to say, do you have kind of requirements, or try to present like you have to order this like 24 hours in advance?
I definitely require 24 hours in advance. Most of the time, what I find that people will do when they call is they will say, I want to do catering, but I don't know what that looks like. But I know that my people want Southern Pressed Juicery. And so I will usually start by, what is your budget? Give me a budget to work with per head. And then I can tell you what I can offer at that price. And I feel like that's the best way around it. It's like, never be the first one to, what is the betting thing, Charlie? Like, don't be the first one to spit out a price, right? So so I'm like, normally I'll tell them, I don't recommend going anything below $10 a head. Like I just can't give much for that. So normally they'll give me $10 a head, $15 a head, depending if it's breakfast or lunch or something like that. And then I back up into it. Okay, for $10 a head, I want to make X amount of money. What can I produce at that I feel like is going to give a good representation? So my acai bowls are, $10, $11, $12. So I did mini bowls, which had half the toppings, half the product in it. And was just like a really small, I don't know, it's like a 9-ounce cup, small sampling, but very nice presentation wise. And I charged her $5 per. Now, I will say, I hope none of my clients are listening right now, but I had that was a large order. I had another client order the same thing for later on in the afternoon, and I charged her $7 a bowl. But I knew that she had more margin. Like I knew that, she's my landlord. I know she got the money. And she was ordering a smaller amount. So the first girl ordered hundreds. Yeah. The second girl only ordered 13, but it was in the middle of lunch rush. And so I like looked at her and she wanted me to hand deliver it. And she's like, I know, just charge me 7 or 8. So, you can sort of base it like that. Weren't we just talking about Wendy's and the high priced burger at a certain time?
Oh man. Wendy's, surge pricing.
Surge pricing. She wanted 13 hand-delivered bowls by Olivia at lunchtime. She's going to pay $8 a mini bowl. Sorry, buddy. I'm a hot commodity around lunchtime. But juices, normally my juices are 16 ounces. For catering, I'll usually offer like an 8-ounce or shots. And for the 8-ounce, I'll do anywhere between, knowing what my food cost is always. So I always pick a nice variety. Like I'll do a simple green, Lord Have Mercy, which is like a take on the Master Cleanse, a detox lemonade, and then like a nice sweet almond milk. So I've got 3 really nice variety of my offerings, pretty colors, something for everybody. And I'll, charge somewhere between $5 to $6 for an 8-ounce.
I love it. I mean, my background, I did do banquets for 4 to 5 years from the kitchen side, not really from the pricing side, but I definitely they use BEOs or banquet event orders, just to kind of keep organized. I love the concept that you have price per head because that makes it so much easier. What I strongly recommend doing, I also love that you do the smaller format because that is amazing. I don't recommend discount from your normal pricing. A lot of times, like we were talking about, where people want to do like, okay, I usually do 20-30%. I might bump mine up to 50%, or because I get it. I know they want to do to impress them enough to keep ordering, have that continue revenue. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be good. Okay, because you're going to be making a smaller margin, a lot of work. So first of all, I strongly recommend being set up for larger amounts. If you're not, you need to look at that, because if you get in the point where you get larger orders and you have to turn them away, that's going to be an issue. You need to have that room for growth in terms of employees and equipment. Just have that on standby or a plan for that. I recommend having BEOs, banquet event orders, have a template for that, and basically your juice operation, you can have all your requirements you want on there. I would put certain requirements like before 24 hours, need to order before 24 hours. This is amount of customers, a minimum amount of customers. But I would also do kind of tiered banquet event orders. Okay. Kind of like a light, medium, and a heavy.
Right.
No, don't call it that, but I mean, different variations that you want to offer people. And it would be certain price points per person, possibly like a $10 per person, $12, $15 per person, and then have the different items in that category. So like someone wants to do some kind of banquet or event, you could present them with these different menus. That's just treat it like a banquet operation. And it's having that there, the numbers ready to go. That way you don't have to say, let me think about what to charge and come back. Because then they're already thinking, okay, I have room to negotiate with this. I could talk them down. But if you show them the paper with the pricing on it, I mean, they could sign it right there. I would recommend having certain requirements like the 24 hours, 50% paid up front, at least, whatever will work for you. And I mean, have those set, but be flexible with it. Sometimes you might have an order right away, like you mentioned, that needs it in 6 hours. Think about if you could do it, then do it. Don't hold them to it, but having that really helps. And then those BEOs in the back, you could have logs. Now you could have clipboards in the back kitchen.
Stop it.
And I mean, if you do get that business like consistently, it's what I like to do is have kind of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, print that out, have that posted on that clipboard. That way the team in the back or the production can see it coming up, sign off on it, make sure that they saw it. And that way whoever's doing ordering can see, oh, this is coming up. I could start preparing this.
Yes, exactly.
2 days ahead, 3 days ahead, something like that, just to get organized from the back. But
one thing I should probably implement too is like, in my head with all of the catering I've ever done, like, as a person that has put on a lot of events, I always leave buffer for catering to arrive before my people walk in. Okay. Well, clearly that woman didn't do that. She was like, I expected you here at 8. I've had people lining up at 8. And I'm like, well, why the hell would they be lining up at 8? Okay. If I was supposed to be setting up. So aside from the fact that I needed to be there an hour earlier to set up at my own juice bar, I should say like, I need 30 minutes to set up. So if you want me there at 8:00, do not have guests there until 8:30. Right. So I did have a BEO I had 3 BEOs in my kitchen today. I did take full payment, which was nice. And like bottles were pre-labeled and pre-juiced. And so I felt like I was out on the game about that. It was more of just the made to order thing that I just totally misjudged. But aside from those 2 breakfast and lunch orders, then we had an order for a bar tonight. So in our building, somebody was having an event this evening, and so catering of a restaurant contacted us for shots and 8-ounce juices, and then for 16 gallons per flavor of like 2 or 3 flavors for cocktails. So it was the cocktail,
Nice.
we were the cocktail mixers.
Awesome.
So we've been like, doing that for a couple
Your
of days.
X1's going to be busy.
X1? Oh, please. It was fine. It was like winking at me like, I got you, girl. No, it was fine. So they had already picked one flavor for one of those cocktails. It was a tequila. It was my recipe called the Latin Lover, and it's a nice pineapple, jalapeno, cilantro, really nice with tequila. And then they wanted a vodka option. So I did like a really nice tart apple with lemon and maple, just really low food cost, something they could make a little appletini with that would be pretty. And they could do like an apple, little rind on top. So they came and took samples of that yesterday to go ahead and finalize their cocktail. And then this afternoon, they were coming to grab all the half gallons and the shots and the stuff. So, reach out to people like that, put it out on social media and let them know that you're available for cocktails and for catering orders. We've also done things in the past where people want to make their own bowls. So we would bring just the base, and then we would bring the toppings, and they would set it up as like an a la carte, like, oh, I want to add blueberries. I want to add granola.
Yeah.
Those are really
probably
fun.
A lot easier to do.
Much easier. Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that's a cool idea. I think I like having preset catering menu. Here's your options, like Ari said, like $10, $12, $15. And then if you have space in your store to maybe set up a little display about sort of the like presentation of how a catering order might look, and have a little signage about
promote
like
it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
menu.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
So Ari, let me ask you, and this is a question I get all the time, and I'll tell you what I mark up, but what would you suggest marking up of of what your cost is to what you would charge? I know you said you'd want to keep it the same, like if it was a guest walking in or if it was a catering order, but what is your ideal profit margin?
Well, I'll let you know on a little secret.
Okay.
So when
that's what Goodnature Radio is all about. It's all the secrets.
Yeah. So with food cost, when I work in a hotel, you have steakhouses, you have buffets, you have Italian restaurants, and everyone's held to a different food cost.
Right. So
juice bars, always between 20 and 30, typically. Steakhouses, buffets even, might even be up to like 45, 50%. Banquets, they're usually at maybe 10% food cost. It's insane. Yeah. Like that, you are renting out the space. You are paying like for canapes or hors d'oeuvres. You're paying per piece.
Yeah.
So they're running a very low food cost. I remember we used to do a simple canapé of cherry tomato, slice the top off, a little piece of basil, fresh mozzarella, and microgreen. It was a cherry tomato. You know how much we charge per piece?
No.
This was 10 years ago. $4.50.
Oh my God.
$4.50.
How dare you,
tomato.
Ari? You're part of the problem.
That's ideal. But I'm not saying charge that much. So not charge per tomato. But I mean, no, I would charge the cost. I wouldn't offer, unless the only time I would offer a discounted price, slightly discounted, is if it's going to be a consistent order that happens every week.
Wait, you said something wrong. So you don't mean charge the cost.
Charge cost.
You mean
charge the price.
Charge your retail price.
I would charge,
Okay. Yeah.
And I would also charge automatic gratuity.
Yes.
That's pretty standard with catering orders. Is like, oh, well, the automatic, whatever.
Yeah, and there's little
percentage.
games you could play, right? Like you could say like, "Oh, we'll waive the delivery fee as long as you meet the minimum order of, $350 or whatever you want to do." But Ari, you didn't answer my question. So if the food cost is running at 20%, okay? Let's say the cost of let's do some math. The cost of the 8-ounce juice is $2 a
$10.
bottle.
Make it easy.
$2 a bottle. What are you going to charge them?
Charge
$10. Yeah, that's easy math.
Yeah.
I would charge.
Multiply it times 5. Multiply the cost times 5.
Yeah.
And there's your 20% food cost.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest aspect is when people are buying these orders, they don't know what the price is. And if you have that already set, it's so much easier than coming back with a price. That's always the biggest issue, is because they think like you're thinking about, oh, maybe what's the most I can get out of it. If you have everything set on the sheet and it's laid out, it's a lot easier.
Right.
Yeah, you also have to imagine who the customer is. So this is probably a business buying food for a group of people.
Right.
And to them, they're probably not stressing too much about whether it's $10 or $11 a person.
They usually have a budget. Like, oh, it's 100 people. It's going to cost us $1,000, $1,200. You're spending $10 a head, right? Whether it's a sandwich and a cookie, or whether it's, this week it's going to be a bowl, or that's typically what corporate knows that they're going to spend somewhere between $10 to $15 a head on a lunch. Now the question is, are you the lunch item or are you the treat? Right? Like if you're the main provider, that's totally different than just being like a little treat on the table. So think about
here's
that
the
too.
problem. Here's the mindset people get stuck in, and I've done it too as a business owner. You get into this mindset, I really want this order.
Yeah.
I really want it. So then you talk to them and you give them this low price, and then they act a little hesitant for a second. So then you're, okay, no, I'll do it even lower.
Right.
And then by the time you get the order, you don't actually want it anymore. You're like, why did I take this order for such a low price? I don't even want this order anymore.
Yeah.
So you got to get an order that you actually want. And for you to want an order, it's got to be profitable. And especially if that client ends up being like, hey, that was great, let's do it again next week. Now you're like, oh, great. Now I gave them this order with a 60% food cost, and now they're reordering, and I can't raise the price on them because I already gave them this price last week. And so, really just, I agree with Ari on this one, because it's still taking you a lot of work and a lot of maybe even extra work if you have to deliver it and set it up and everything.
Well, and too, like this is where it comes into play of like, especially if it's a juice order, like what juicer are you producing on? Like an X1 is a totally different ball game than doing an order like this on a mini. Like a lot of my clients will message me and they're working on even on an M1 sometimes, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're gonna kill yourself. You're ready for the next step, and I think those are the little signs that people are liking your product, that they want more, that they're willing to invest in it, that they want to splurge on it. So you just got to make sure that you're not killing yourself on labor costs because you're on a made to order juice machine, when really you should be on a proper
X1 Mini, you can produce, a couple hundred bottles in a few hours. So you can definitely do an X1 Mini, but if you're doing juice cleanses and catering and juice bar, then but
that's the thing you got to think about.
And that's another thing, is when there's like bars or some kind of operation will come to the juice bar and ask for a specialty juice. I would say no.
Oh, I say no every time.
That happens so often. You got to be prepared to say no or suggest different items. If you're set up for that, that's fine. But I would do that if it was a standing order for a client and I could operate and produce that consistently. But typically I wouldn't.
Yeah, the only specialty one I did was that simple apple, lemon, and maple, which I did by myself. It didn't take any time off. Apple was already done for front of the house. But that's the thing, Charlie, is you've got to remember. So we had all of those catering orders, but then we also had to fill the case. Then we also had cleanse orders. So I couldn't have done that on a mini, not with the operation I have. So it's you've got to think about as catering is going to start growing, then juice demand is going to start growing, and we're going into spring. So.
I'm just trying to make the point that plenty of people run their juice bar on an X1 Mini.
Yeah, they do.
They're successful with it. So I don't want to trash talk the Mini because it's a great machine for a lot of people don't have 230 volt power
Sure.
and 6 feet high and wide of space for an X1, and they run their entire business on an X1 Mini. So it is totally capable of running a juice business. It does take longer. It's going to take instead of an hour of time in X1, it'll take you 3 hours on X1 Mini. That's basically the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you're organized enough, like we did the juice the day before for that off schedule, then it wouldn't mess up your day.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got your kitchen
exactly.
organized.
I mean, it might take a little more planning, a little more labor, but for some juice bars, a lot of our mom and pop shop clients, they're doing all the work. They're not even necessarily paying for labor costs because they're just doing it themselves, and they have the time to kind of plan ahead. So I'm just saying it's you can definitely do it with X1 Mini, but if you're getting to the point where you're doing catering orders and juice cleanses and stocking your fridge, then you definitely need an X1.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so we covered. Who does a really good catering program is Chipotle. We did a Chipotle order for this party somewhat recently, and it's the website is super easy, just like Ari was saying, gives you 3 options. You want option A, B, or C. It's the basic or premium or whatever.
Right.
And then the premium gives you 4 options. The other one gives you only 2. And it's make it super easy. Then you set up the time and then they drop it off. And to me, that's the perfect way to do it. Just have everything laid out. Have your pricing figured out, have the options figured out, and then once you get in the groove, you probably can plan it out super easily.
Yeah.
With production and purchasing and everything too.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, so just as a reminder, head over to goodnature.com/levelup to level up your juice business. We're going to be having the first group call on Tuesday, March 5th at 4 p.m. Eastern. I hope to see everybody there. As a reminder, if you sign up before Tuesday, you get Ari's free $999 course. What?
What?
So it's a great deal.
It's because you're the hook, Ari. It's because you're the hook. That's what's bringing us all the sales.
And
that's
we
what's
got
bringing
one
us all the
person
people.
to ask. We got one person that said, "Well, I already bought Ari's course. Can I get Olivia's course?" Yes. If you already have Ari's course, you can get Olivia's course.
All right.
Or maybe prefer Olivia's course. We'll just give you Olivia's course instead of Ari's course if you prefer.
Just don't tell Ari. You'll get his feelings.
Yeah, don't tell me. I'd start crying.
Yes, he's a sensitive guy. All right, thanks everybody. Have a great weekend. See you next week.
Thank you guys. See you then.
Peace out.
So now I feel a boost. Baby say, oh, it's the way I make my juice. Pressing fruits and roots. This week I did it my way. Baby say, oh, now let's have some fun. There is nothing greater than Fridays at Goodnature.